we can make the shiny squares that you had as the last task from your previous homework by having 3 nested loops, 3 fors that each of them is embedded in the previous. And in the current task it's not really important which of them is written where. The most important thing that I had to be careful about in order for me to write this task was that half size. This is the counter that counts what is the size of each of the drawn squares. So I had to be careful that this number starts big but decreases with time. I can of course try it the opposite way. I can try with half size starting from small number and increasing until it's smaller than 24. Yeah, it should be increasing. So in this way none of the inner squares is going to be drawn. You can see only the biggest top, not circles, squares of course. So only the top squares are being drawn. Actually the smaller squares are also drawn, but if they are the first to be drawn, if we start with the small squares and if the last square is the biggest one, then we are going to only see the biggest square hiding all of the previous squares. This is the reason why I had to make this loop with decreasing counter, starting from a big size and getting smaller in order for me to achieve this effect, this thing. There is one more thing that I could have done. I could have chosen for a color number instead of a random value to use x plus y plus half size, for example, and I could have taken the remainder of dividing by 5 of this, and then I will have this static picture, and you can see that each of those squares is slightly different than the previous one, I think, or perhaps they are all the same, which is going to be kind of surprising for me. So if I want to have a nice movement through a tunnel vision, I can have one new variable called depth, for example, and I can start from something and I can use it here in this evaluation, and this is not going to have any effect if depth stays the same, but it's really going to get interesting if this is a variable that is increased by time. So if I write something like this, I'm going to go through a tunnel and you can experiment even more with your code. I think you can get really interesting effects if you want. But I'm going to stop talking about this. It's time to make a new epic game and learn something epic with it. In the beginning, your task is going to be simple. I want you to code a rapid draw. This is an old game mainly played on small old phones without touchscreen, but only with a lot of keys. So in this game you always fall, and you try to step on the platforms going up, because you're going to die if you fall under the playing field or over the playing field if you are on a platform and forget to go down from it. So you can see that the game is really harder as the time goes by, because it's faster and you can hit the top or the bottom if you're not very careful or if you're not the perfect player. So we're going to try to make this game with a single platform in the beginning, and you will have the new task of thinking how to move the player up when it's collided with a platform. So make the player to fall and make a platform that we can step on.